Hello, my name is Jeannie and I'm one of the Open the Book team. At the moment we can't come to you at school as we usually do because of the virus, so we're doing an Open the Book session like this. First of all, we hope that you and your families and your teachers are all keeping well. And now here goes with Open the Book. Today we'll hear that Jesus tells a story to help people understand what is really important in life and what really isn't. And there's a big surprise in store for the man in the story. Let's open the book and hear about when Jesus told a story about a greedy farmer.
Once upon a time, said Jesus, there was a rich man who spent his whole life thinking about how he could get richer. One morning, the rich man, who owned a farm, walked from his house to his fields. He looked at his crops and rubbed his hands together greedily.
Mine, all mine!
He looked out across the farm and saw his servants who were loading grain, sack after sack, in the hot sun.
Work harder! I'm very rich, but I'd like to be richer!
The next week, he walked from his house to the fields. He looked at his crops and rubbed his hands together greedily.
Mine, all mine!
He looked out across the farm and he screamed at some birds that had swooped down and started to peck at the grain.
Shoo! Go away! This is mine, all mine, and you can't have any of it.
Another week went by. The rich man walked from his house to his fields. He looked at his crops and rubbed his hands together greedily.
Mine, all mine!
He walked across the farm and he shouted at a poor man who had stopped to pick up some grain which had accidentally spilled on the floor.
Stop, thief!
Please, sir, I have a wife and 3 children to feed, and we have nothing to eat.
You will have to find some other way to feed your family. This is mine, all mine, and you can't have any of it.
The rich man walked home. He thought long and hard about his grain.
It's spilling out of the barn. The birds are eating it. Poor people are coming to steal the grain that's spilling out of the door. And I can't allow that to happen. That grain is mine, all mine. What shall I do?
The next morning, the rich man walked from his house to his fields. He called to his servants.
Hey, stop working. Put down your tools. Come here. This barn isn't big enough. Today, I want you to build another one, even bigger. Oh, and when you've finished that, you can start to build 2 more as well. I have tons and tons of grain, and I'm going to store it all. Then I will sell it, and I will be rich, rich beyond my wildest dreams.
Day after day, the rich man went to his fields to watch the servants building his enormous barns. He made sure that no one came by to take so much as a handful of his precious grain. At last the barns were finished. The rich man looked at his fields and at his new barns, and he thought long and hard about his life.
I have so much, I will never need to work again. In the morning, I'll go out and buy myself some fine clothes. I'll order in the best food and crates of the best wine. I'm going to have a wonderful time spending all my money, and it's mine, all mine.
But that very night, the man died in his sleep. No one mourned, and no one wept for the man who had all the riches in the world, but who kept them all for himself. As Jesus finished the story, he looked around and said, "Don't be like that man. People like that can never please God. Being rich won't make you happy, and being selfish is always a bad choice in the end."
Well,
Did you spot the surprise in that story? After keeping everything for himself, the farmer didn't live long enough to enjoy all the money he had made. It wasn't so much as a surprise as a nasty shock. The farmer was selfish and greedy. He had far more than he needed of himself, and he wouldn't share what he had with anyone else, even the really poor people. Let's close our eyes and think about that story. By keeping all the riches for himself, the man forgot all about the really important things in life. And now let's think. Being rich isn't important, so what are the really important things in life? Now I'm going to say a prayer, and if you want to make it your prayer, say Amen at the end after me. Dear God, please help us to know what is really important in life and what isn't, and help us not to be like the greedy farmer, but to share what we have with others. Amen. So, bye for now from the Open the Book team. Stay safe and see you next time.
Bye.